All right. Welcome to another episode / edition / installment of Free Thinkers. I am one of your hosts, Q. Everybody else will be here shortly, I'm guessing. So, for those of you who don't know, Free Thinkers is a discussion group where we talk about a variety of things, whatever we feel like talking about. So with that in mind, if you ever have anything you want to talk about, make sure that you send us a message. And more than likely, we will talk about it. So typically it runs about 90 minutes. This is open for everybody. So if you think you want to get on, if you're on YouTube, then you should go to our Facebook page to get the link. And that's assuming that you are part of our Free Thinkers Facebook group. If you are not, go to the Free Thinkers and get on. Because not only outside of the podcast, we also have a variety of interesting conversations and posts that goes on throughout the course of the week on the page as well. So if you want to be engaged with people who think a little bit outside the box than the norm, Free Thinkers is definitely a place that talks about social issues, conspiracy theories, religion, hot topics, a variety, pretty much whatever you want to think of. The one thing that I wholeheartedly support is that Free Thinkers is a space that allows you to think, feel, and say whatever it is that you want. One thing I do reject, I don't think there's any restriction to being a free thinker. I believe you have the right to be politically affiliated with who you want to have spiritual affiliations with who you want, and you can still be a free thinker. I know I did not learn this until later on down the road, that Free Thinkers is more so connected with atheism or kind of anti-religion or structure. I just like the name Free Thinkers. I absolutely feel like I'm a free thinker, and I do reject the notion that you can't be affiliated with a group or a belief system in order to be a free thinker. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I think you should have your own mindset, your own thoughts, and with that mindset and thoughts, be prepared to defend those thoughts, be prepared to change in light of new information. And I think that's what makes you a free thinker. I can wholeheartedly stand on what I believe right now with the information that I have. And as I grow, have new life experiences and new information, then I have the ability to change or adjust my opinion or belief system. I think that's the baseline of true growth. So keep in mind, we do have adult content. Absolutely. We also have adult language. So if that's something that's, I don't know what I'm hearing right now. I got kicked out of my office recently, so now I'm back in a more open space, and now I'm hearing everything. I don't know what I'm hearing. But if you get on, make sure you have something to put in your ears so that the sound doesn't bleed also. Just keep in mind, adult conversation. So be mindful of who you want to be around and to connect with that. So also, at your leisure, make sure that you like, you follow, share. We have many people who don't get on live. They will come live in person, but then they also communicate through the comment threads. So keep the comments coming as well. If you have any input or responses to any of the things that we say, come on, come on. Give us your thoughts, give us your opinions. We want to hear all of it. And depending on the conversation, then we will interact with those questions as well. So today, I think we are going to have a good conversation. This conversation was stemmed out of, I believe, kind of a side conversation that we were having in the previous week. I'm trying to think, what were we even talking about last week? I know it was a very good conversation. I'm just uh, escaping my mind as far as what the actual topic itself was. And then y'all got to keep in mind, I do a lot of shows every day. So not every day, but through the course of a week, then I do a lot of shows and a lot of content. So it's hard for me to remember sometimes. We talked about, mm, and you know what the crazy part of it is? It was a great show. I mean, it was one of my favorite shows, but as far as what the topic, I'm guessing, did it have something to do with relationships? I don't know. Somebody gonna have to tell me what the conversation was about when and I don't think this is just the old part of me. I'm trying to catch Rudy, you weren't even here last week, but do you remember what the conversation that we talked about last week? It was, I think the conversation that we had last week was kind of a part two to the live in-person conversation we had, which was, I still don't know, drawing a blank. I guess somebody let me know when they get in here. But anyway, there was a conversation. We were dealing with relationship stuff, and we were talking about trust. And I said something of the effect that you should not trust anyone 100%, especially in relationships, especially when you're dealing with fidelity. You just should not trust anybody. I see your comment. I can't hear you, Rudy. So I see your face, obviously, but I don't hear anything from you. Maybe muted still. If you want me to add the other, I see two of them in there. Do you want me to add the you want me to add the other one in there instead of this one? Okay. I'll take that as yes. Okay, gotcha.
Oh, cool. Do you hear
So
me?
yeah, I don't know. Yes, I can hear you. I
It
don't
was
remember
last
what we
week was it no strings attached and friends with benefits?
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, we were talking about the friends with benefits, no strings attached. And in that conversation, then we kind of fell into the conversation about trust. So tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about for the next 1 hour and 22 minutes. Because we're gonna do a hard close today. Because I got other stuff to do. I got to get up early in the morning. So Rudy, when it comes to trust, this is my first question I want to have. What for the amount of trust you have or the lack of trust that you have, what do you think played or plays the biggest part in the current level of trust that you have in people right now?
You mean like my significant
What's the biggest
other,
factor?
my
Whether it's past history dealings with other people, being let down by your family, bad relationships, just insecurity. Like, what do you think is the biggest component of the whatever your level of trust is, whether you have high level of trust or low level of trust? What do you think is the biggest component of that right now?
I would say actions.
Actions,
Actions as
your
if like
personal
you
actions or actions by other people?
well, if I'm trusting someone else for something, let's say if I got a buddy of mine that I say, hey man, can you make sure my car gets picked up the night before from a party? I guess something like that. And or do you want like give me more in depth on trust or
No, I mean that's an example. But you're just saying a person's actions is what. So, I mean, even based off of that, are you saying that the trust that you have or the trust that you give is based off of personal experiences? Is it more individual? Like you can have a high level of trust with one person and a low level with others?
yeah, I mean I think there's levels of trust that you can have with someone. I mean, I know that with like a significant other, there's a higher expectation of trust that we give one another because there's, it's a dynamic, it's a relationship. And I think with maybe like somebody that you just like maybe a coworker,
Mhm.
there's a little bit lower sense of trust.
Hmm. Okay, question.
Yeah,
Is trust given or is trust earned?
that's man,
I love
that's
when
a
I ask a
doozy, man.
question and there's silence immediately after that. That means I asked a good question.
Yeah. Uh, man, dude. Damn, I would say maybe earned. I would say trust is earned.
Hmm. I think it's an eye of the person. So for me,
Hmm.
okay. Ooh, thank you. So as I was talking to Denise and Nikki last week,
Hmm.
one of the things that I've really been, I guess, pushing or just far as a new philosophy that I have, I get away from the yes or no things, but I don't look at things in terms of yes or no, but I look at it in terms of levels. So when someone says, "Do you trust me?" Yes or no, it's for me, it's not a yes or no answer.
Hmm.
There's levels. The question is, to what degree do you trust me? Or to what degree do I trust you?
Right.
It's not a just cut clear, yes, I trust you, or no, you don't. It's mm, scale of 1 to 10, I might have about a 6 or 7. Or
Hmm.
you talk about compartmentalizing. There's certain areas that I trust you in and certain areas that I don't. Um, but with that being said, so for me, trust is initially given. I
Okay.
give people a certain level of trust up until the point they show me that you shouldn't trust me at that level.
Hmm.
Um, and that's I think that's part of relationships. Now, um, that's me personally. I said no, the one statement that I have as well when it comes to my children, I don't trust anybody.
Okay.
Not at least not completely.
That's
Um,
fair.
it's and not only that, this is one of the things I say. It's my job not to trust you completely. My job is to be cautious and careful in all things when it comes to my children. Now, there's certain levels of, like I said, there's certain levels of trust. I trust the school enough to send my kids to school. I trust teachers enough to allow my kids to be taught by teachers. That don't mean I trust them 100%. I'm
Right.
always paying attention. I'm always very careful. I'm listening to the things that's being said and the things that's being taught and the way that they're being treated all the time. That's my job. It's my job not to trust you 100% when it comes to kids. When it comes to me personally, um, it's given, but it's given trial and error. So I will choose to trust a person. I don't have a reason not to trust you, and that goes to maybe I have a more optimistic mindset. I think it's a healthier way to live, for me to start off trusting someone until they show me otherwise. I don't think it's very healthy. It's gone. Like I said, y'all, I lost my office is gone, so I got a wide open space. You're gonna hear kids in the background. Ain't nothing I can do
I
about
get
that right
same
now.
same here.
Um, when it comes to just trust overall, I just believe that I don't think it's healthy to have a pessimistic view of everyone that I encounter or to expect the worst in everyone or to expect someone not to be untrustworthy or to be disloyal. That's just I think it takes away the value of life to automatically assume that in people. That's my thought about it. I don't know what you think.
No, no, I agree, and I you can only trust somebody to be human as well.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can only have somebody to be faithful in a just to a certain level. I mean, uh, there are times that, there's that old saying, you always hurt the ones you love,
Uh-huh.
because they say the greatest sin is betrayal, and the only reason you can get betrayed is if you let somebody get close to you,
Right.
as
Okay.
we've seen with 12 apostles, Judas, who else, Brutus, in the
Right. Caesar.
Shakespearean novel of Caesar, right? And only a friend can get that close to you.
Right. So let me ask, have you ever been betrayed before?
By a friend or
Mm,
by
friend, enemy, coworker, anybody, like, go down the line. Have you been betrayed before?
mm, maybe by a couple ex
You
girlfriends,
know
but that's
what?
about
That's
it.
good, Rudy. See, that in itself says a lot. And see, this is what how I perceive things.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that everybody's been betrayed on some level at some point in time.
Hmm.
But the fact that you're having a hard time thinking of, okay, have I ever been betrayed? Really, what that says is you don't dwell on stuff or you don't hold on to things long enough for it to affect you long term.
I guess not. I mean,
I mean, I'm telling you, some people I could ask that question to, and some people be like, "Oh yeah, back in 1997, then my sister did." Like they will remember, and it stays on the top, and it shows that that's something that's constantly on their mind.
living rent free.
Um, right, it's just always there, and at the blink of at the just a blink, then they can go back and remember because it's always the thought. They're always thinking about who crossed them, who lied to them or on them, or who betrayed them, and it's something that's just constant. The fact that it's hard for you to remember, that means that you don't hold on to you're not a grudge holder. Is that true?
I
Is
mean,
that I mean that's my assessment. Is that a true assessment, you think?
yeah. Oh, not only that, but I honestly I can't think of anything that was. I can't really think of anything that was detrimental where I thought that I was going to lose a relationship or a friendship to where. I've had. God, man, I can't even. I can't even. No, I still got a good close circle of friends that I grew up with in high school and
Have you
buddies
ever
of mine
had
that I.
a partner cheat on you before?
Oh, this is the thing. Last week I didn't want to jump into the whole friends and benefits thing. It's kind of like
Right.
out of respect for my wife, but
Right.
um, honestly, my whole teens and 20s, I never had a. I had one girlfriend, but other than that,
Hmm.
I just had a bunch of friends with benefits. I was in the military, like as you know,
Right. Yeah.
I was in the Marines for a long time, and I
There's
didn't.
that.
That's
That's me.
me.
Sorry, no, that's me.
Good
Oh,
Hold
is
on,
that
hold on.
you?
Lord.
I can't
Yeah, hold on.
see. It could be. It's probably both of us, to tell you the truth. That's why I was telling. I lost my
Okay.
office, so now I'm back in a space with
Oh, you
a open
did?
door. Yes,
Oh no! You were just
we had
sitting
to
with
move around
Sweet.
some stuff. So if you,
Oh
it's me too. I think it's both of us at the same.
no! I was
It's
like,
both of
whose
us actually.
kids are in the background?
It's
All
all
right.
no. It's both of ours. I hear mine still too. So
That is hilarious.
ain't
Yeah.
no way around that.
But yeah, like I
So
was saying, I
yeah.
was in the Marines for a long time, and I had females that were living here in Austin, and I was stationed in North Carolina. And some of them, yeah, like after a while, they did fall off, and they ended up getting with some guy closer to them. And could I chalk that up to a form of betrayal? No, because there was never anything
Right.
solid. So, I got butt hurt for over a weekend, and then that weekend came by and it was over, and I was over it. Kid stuff.
Okay. Nikki, let me ask you, scale of 1 to 10, how trusting would you say you are? I know that's a loaded general question, but give me a
It
loaded
is.
general answer.
I mean,
I know that. I did that on purpose.
how trusting am I? I mean, I want to say that my default setting is
I like that default setting. That's a good one.
Well, because a lot of things can ruin that, right? So the
Right. It could
default
change, but I'm
setting,
saying, yeah, coming in, then
the
that's a
default.
good way to put it. Your default. Where is your default set? I like that. That's good.
I want to say my default probably falls around an 8, and maybe that makes me really stupid and ignorant, but I feel like me. I feel like probably an 8.
I think that's good for you.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I believe you're the person that you can operate. Your default could be at an 8 or 9, but when information is presented to you, then you will quickly make adjustments on what that
Very
needs to be.
quickly.
If it needs to go to a 10, if it needs to go to a 1, you'll make that adjustment real quick.
Very quickly. Very quickly.
And for some people, it's not good because they'll just start off at an 8, and then no matter what a person does, and they still keep them in that same range. And it's like, no, that person
Right.
don't deserve no 8. You started off giving them that 8. That don't mean they deserve this 8 anymore. Like, you
Agreed.
need to adjust or modify that level.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think that's pretty good.
Did you say what yours was? Did you say where you are?
I would say I'm at a 7. I think my default setting starts at a 7.
Okay. I like that.
Well,
Rudy, what was yours?
Oh, hold on. Now you said for me personally, for people around me, including friends and family, and I'm not saying how much I trust them, but like people who deal with my children.
Right.
My trust level with them concerning my children probably starts at a 3 or
Excuse
2.
me 1 second.
Right.
Yeah, you fine.
Right.
Like I'm super cautious and overly observant. I'm paying attention to everything with a cautious eye when it comes to how my children and my family be handled.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I would say when it comes to my kids, then I'm probably less than a 3. You know,
Right.
you know, and we're very similar, right? Like if I've allowed you to be around my children, then that means that you're up here on the top of the fucking scale, right? Otherwise, no, we're down here. We're down here below 3 for sure. And I think that's just a safety mechanism.
So let me ask, as far as the I guess the conversation that we was having last week, we kind of dipped into the whole trust factor. What yeah, it threw me off because y'all seemed so surprised at what I was saying as far as not trust. I could not believe that what I was saying was something that was surprising. So, I mean, give me some feedback on that. I thought that was just 101.
Well, and what you said wasn't necessarily incorrect. You saying that you shouldn't give somebody just 100%, just blank check trust, like that's not a problematic statement. And I agree with you. And I thought about this after we were done talking. I was like, damn, there was so much more I feel like I should have said, right? So I'm glad that we segued into this, because even though so no, I don't think that you should just give people, blank check trust. And I also live my life because of betrayal and because of, having trust been shattered to pieces in the past, right? I know that humans are going to human. I know that people are going to do whatever it is that they may be called to do, whether I like it or not, if that's where they are in their life that would allow them to do something that would break our trust, right? So like I don't go into relationships, whether platonic or intimate, with just this blank check trust that, oh man, you're not going to fuck me over. Because I've learned that is an absolute foolish mentality to have with people. That I also know not to expect me from another person. So just because I wouldn't do you dirty, or because I wouldn't lie to you, or because I wouldn't cheat or steal, does not mean the next person is going to do that. So I've learned those lessons to teach me that. The issue was, and I'll say for Denise and I, even though I know she's not here right now, it was the premise that you don't trust your spouse 100%.
Yeah.
And even then, I still get it. Like, I still get it, because nobody's a perfect person, and our spouses are, allowed to be humans and make human mistakes. But there's a difference for me from a boyfriend, my man for the longest, a friends with benefits, no strings attached, versus my husband, right? Like if your
Fairy tale
actions
stuff.
haven't shown me that I can trust
On some
you
fairy
to where
tales.
you're going to be my husband, you're going to stay my boyfriend, or you're not, or you're going to just be nothing, right? We're not going to have anything together. So I think we were just both shocked that in the sentiment that you should not trust your partner 100%, because that's the reason you become a partner. That's how you become wife material or husband material, is your actions have proven that you are a trustworthy person. You deserve the title of being husband or wife. And maybe, maybe that puts us in, like you said, delusional la la land. I don't know, but at the same time, that's not a title for
That's
everybody.
slightly
Everybody
delusional
doesn't get to
a
be
little bit.
wife or husband. So to reach that status, and for me to be in a relationship with my husband that I have to question, or that I have to feel trepidatious about how much I trust him or how much trust I give to him, you can't be my husband if I have to be worried about that type of shit. And I say that coming from somebody who was with somebody for 17 years that I really did 100% trust. And I'm sure as a human, there were lies in there, of a very minute sort, but like, we didn't lie, we didn't cheat, we didn't, like, that's just not how we behave. So I used to joke a lot of times in that relationship that one of the reasons I'm still here is because I fucking trust you, because I know that fidelity is something that is important to both of us, that not cheating and lying and sneaking, all of those things, like, we both came from those types of relationships, right? So like, having been cheated on and having been lied to, and having had that trust be destroyed, to find somebody that you don't have to fucking worry about those things with, that was kind of like our foundation, right? Now that doesn't mean that there weren't other dysfunctional, toxic things that were taking place in a relationship, but because I
Well,
trusted him so much.
worrying about it and trust, that's not exactly the same thing.
No, but if you don't trust your partner, there's
I
going to
don't
be a
have to
worrisome
trust you
aspect to
100.
it.
Just because I don't trust you 100%, then that doesn't mean that there should be a worry that comes in along with it. I can
Maybe,
trust you enough.
maybe.
I don't trust you. I don't trust a person completely, but I can trust them enough that I don't have to worry about what they're doing. When you get to the point that you have to worry about what a person is doing from day to day, then the level of trust is not high enough, or has not been earned to the point to where you probably should be in a relation. Now, I do believe that if you have
Right.
to worry about what a person is doing on a regular basis, if they are being a stand-up guy or gal, then you got issues in your relationship, or either issues in your relationship, or you have issues within yourself. But something needs to be there's a dysfunction somewhere in there.
I agree. And so that was where the disconnect was, right? So for Denise and I, and again, I'll
I
speak for
don't know about Denise. Listen, I think Denise was living in La La Land. I felt La La Land vibes when it comes to marriage, and it ain't just her. I get that with a lot of people who have an idea of what marriage is supposed to be like. And I'm like, well, you think it's supposed to be like, that's not. All you're doing is setting yourself up for disappointment if that's the mindset that you carry.
But you also have to
And I'm not just talking about fidelity.
Expectations. You have to have expectations for your, we're not talking about boyfriend or girlfriend. This is my spouse. Whether you do the legal marriage or not, like, this is my forever person. We've agreed to be forever to each other. So there is a higher caliber of expectation and a higher caliber of operating that we are going to come from in that type of dynamic. Otherwise, you'll stay my boyfriend or my friend or my whatever,
okay,
right?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. What is the difference functionally? What's the difference between a boyfriend and a husband? What changes about the dynamic?
Well, I guess if you go boyfriend to fiance to husband, right? But I mean, there's supposed to be a difference. That's the whole reason that, like, the person moves to the next level, right? Like,
to be a difference. Okay.
There is supposed to be a difference,
That's the delusion kicking in. You keep saying, you didn't tell me how, though.
What's the difference between boyfriend? I mean, you're asking somebody who's not a dater, right? Like, so for me, I'm a play for keeps kind of person. So even if you're my boyfriend, you're probably still going to look like my damn husband. You're going to have some husband like benefits and some husband like just it's going to look like that, right? Like, so for me, if you are somebody who's close enough to me that I'm calling you mine, that I am loyal to you, that we have agreed to be loyal to each other, like there's going to be a higher level of expectation there, right? Boyfriend, meaning maybe we don't have anything accumulated together, right? Like maybe we haven't gotten any property, or maybe we don't have anything together. Whereas as husband, maybe we purchased our house, maybe we've got a car together, maybe we have an RV together, maybe, you know, and this is not for me, but like maybe we have a kid together, right? Like, so husband versus boyfriend. Well, I'm not having kids with my boyfriend. I'm gonna have kids with my husband. You know, so there's a higher level, I feel like, of expectations and operating there versus boyfriend.
Okay, so Anna asked, could you drop the link in the comments? If you could drop the links, I don't know, somewhere. I don't know where.
It's pinned to the top of the Facebook page. If you go to the Facebook group page and you go to featured, it's in the body of the thread. Let me see.
Yeah, I don't know how to copy it. I will have to find my messenger and copy it and send it from somewhere. But Rudy, let me ask you this.
I'm going through it.
What's the difference between the girlfriend and the wife? Or, I mean, I'm not trying to get into your status, but if you've been in both of those arenas, what was the difference? Like between, you know, girlfriends that, like, what actually changed?
Well, girlfriend, so I'm more of a traditional sense. I've never shacked up with anybody. So my wife, when
Shacking.
we got married, yeah, I never shacked. So I always my wife, you know, she lives with me, and she lived here with me when we got married.
Right.
Right. So that to me, I know a lot of my friends are a little bit different. You know, that's them, that's their
Right.
house, their money. They decide what they want to do with their own property. For me, I would say residence changes, because I brought a kid into the relationship. She met
Right.
my son, so that was a big thing. The fact that I entered into holy matrimony with her, and we made a covenant together, that was a big change for me. Versus a girlfriend that's just, it doesn't take much to like, I think last week you made a good point, because you've experienced it, unfortunately, a divorce, is that when you break up with someone as a boyfriend girlfriend, that's it. There's really nothing binding that, right? But when you get married, you, in my sense, I go before an altar in a church, a priest, family, both sides, witnesses.
Right. That is
I mean,
true.
a whole,
Okay.
you know,
Thank you.
a wedding, people that were there at the wedding, the whole ceremony, kids. You know,
Right.
there is a whole lot more of a package that comes to that, and then versus just a girlfriend, or just a girlfriend, you're just like, hey, you can do it through text, and you know, it's fine. Or you could do it at lunch. You know, you can invite her to lunch and just be like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's it. Maybe she loses a toothbrush out
Right.
of it that she left at your house.
So you did mention one thing, because I was about to say, as far as going from girlfriend to marriage, literally nothing changed. We were already living together. We already had a child together. Literally nothing changed in the way that we operated, behaved, anything. The one thing that did change, which is the one, if there was any main thing that I wanted, is my family accepted her as family once that happened.
Yeah.
So she's not just, you know, the mother of my child. No, now that's my mother's daughter. That's my sister's sister. And so for that was literally the only thing that changed for me. But between our exclusive relationship dynamic, nothing changed.
But had we
So
done
anyway,
it the right way, though, right? We wouldn't be shacking up. We wouldn't have had babies before marriage. Like we there would have been things that would have had to have waited for us to be married, right? We would have got married and then we would have lived together. We would have got married and then we would have started having kids, right? And I think that, being that it's, obviously a different time and era, and there are a lot of people who still go about their relationships into marriage that way. Most of us, the pregnancy was accidental and shit. We shacking up because rent higher than a motherfucker, right? So like we just kind of put what they say, the cart in front of the horse. And so I think it changes the dynamic. Whereas if we were in, old school times, there was a way, there was a process that those types of relationships had to be grown into versus us dating and living together and having a baby. And then 4, 5, 6, 8 months, years later, then we get married. So I think that the lines may easily be blurred because of the way we date today or society standards or whatever. But I think, prior to that, there was still that, marriage for people who wanted to get married, like that was still a goal. Like, oh, then we can do this and then we're going to bring this into our life, as opposed to today.
I think everybody should shack up for a period of time.
Before they get married.
Ivory.
She said no.
Listen. I don't think shacking should be, the term shacking to me is just funny in general. But I don't think shacking should be an indefinite thing. But I think this is what I think. I think that a couple, they get into a relationship, I think you should co-domicile for a certain period of time, whether I believe 1 year, 1 solid year. And at that point in time, it's like a term, it's like a government term. When you get to that 1 year, so what do you think? Are we going to move past this probationary period and make this permanent? Or are we going to go our separate ways? I don't think you should stay living together without some definitive commitment. But I do think if you want to know what that life is going to be like with that person living with them, yeah, give it a year. And then make a decision at the end of the year. Are we going to stay or are we breaking at that year? If we not moving forward, if we not getting engaged, then we breaking it off. I think that's something I think will be beneficial.
So would you support your children like shacking up with their boyfriend or girlfriend too, prior to, let's say, deciding if a marriage was something that they wanted to enter with this person? Like, would you encourage that for your children?
I'm not gonna say I would encourage it, like, hey, this is what you need to do. But if they say, hey, we're gonna live together, then I was like, okay. And then I would kind of say the same things. Hey, do you have a timeline on this trial period?
Okay.
Because at some point you can stay in a relationship too long to where it becomes detrimental, especially for people who believe in the concept of marriage. If you stay in it too long and you do not commit, then it ends up doing more damage than it does good. So then at some point, if a person wants to get married and you going 2, 3, 4 years, they're like, okay, we're doing all the married people stuff. Mm-hmm. How come you won't commit to me? What's wrong with me that you don't feel that I'm worth committing to? Then there's resentment that comes in from that. I think you should give it a definitive period of time and then make a decision to move forward or split apart.
So Ivory said no, she doesn't believe in the living together before you. So did you and Mr. Adams y'all did not live together before?
No.
Really? Okay.
We were together for 5 years.
Yeah, and y'all never lived with each other before that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ivory, I have a question. Have you ever lived with someone before?
No.
Can you tell us what you think the benefits are of waiting until marriage to live with someone?
I think the extreme commitment of marriage is what gets you through the pain of that union.
That makes sense.
Because living with someone is hard. So I think when people do it without the commitment of marriage, they might have could have made it, but since they didn't have that extra glue, sometimes they don't, and you could have if you had something extra to keep you there.
Ooh, that gave me
Because the
chills.
first few years living together is just hard, and so people will think, well, it's because we're not meant to be. Well, no, it might just be it takes a couple years to figure this out.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody who is newly married and has never lived with anyone before, how to navigate living with your partner for the first time?
Throw your single mindset out the window. Stop acting like you single when you ain't single no more.
I mean, realistically.
Well, yeah, that, and
That's the most important part. People trying to hold on to their identity. I'm like, look, you need to recreate your identity right now. Stop trying to hold on to yourself or
Well,
think
and
you're
you-
going to be lesser
you
because
can't hold on to yourself, and you got to let go a lot of your judgments from your own family. Just because somebody doesn't do something the way you do it doesn't make it wrong. And so I think those first few years, you have to figure out your way together on how you're going to do things instead of just saying, well, the way me and my family did it is right, and the way you and your family did it is wrong. We're going to do it my way. Well, that doesn't work. So it's a lot of coming up with new practices together. And then you got to try to keep it as light as you possibly can. The first couple years, like you need to laugh a lot. Like you need to just make it, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna have a good time because it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, Denise, I was saying how delusional I thought you were and that you were.
Yo, that was when did Q tell us?
I tried to explain for us. I said I'm going to include you in my response. So
no, I think Denise was further off than you was, Nikki. He was off the
I'm here
reservation.
to defend my honor. I'm here to defend my own honor. What happened while I was gone?
No, we were just talking about how we got into the whole conversation of trust, and I felt like when the whole conversation came up last week, I was like, I think Denise is just in another world right now. She is not connected
I still
with.
there.
Yeah, see,
I
told you.
stand
Told
by
you,
my
Nikki.
thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think that's
For those who weren't
healthy.
here last week, for those who weren't here last week, Ivory, I'm so glad you're here because I called your name while you were gone, sis. I couldn't take it anymore. I said, Ivory, you somewhere in Paris. I'm like, Lord. Okay, so last week, for those who were not tuning in, we got the whole conversation was about friends with benefits and no strings attached sexual relationships. So basically casual sex, right? So with that conversation, we started getting into, can you, what level can you trust your partner? And Q was saying that even in marriage, you should not trust your partner 100% sexually. And I was like, Q, what does that even look like in a marriage?
Right.
Are you getting tested? Like, what's the deal? What do you mean? And then Q starts going into this whole rant about how trust comes in levels. And I'm like, bro, how do you even marry somebody if you cannot fully trust that they are only going to sleep with you? Like, if something happens later, okay, cool. But you should go into a marriage trusting that this person is going to be committed to you if that's the vows you made. Q, feel free to hop in at any point.
That is.
That's not the okay.
And not only see, like I said, again,
What, Ivory,
no, forget what Ivory's saying.
No. We're not going to count Ivory out.
No, I'm not even.
Even though she don't care about what my thoughts are, we ain't going to count Ivory out.
I said, don't listen to me or listen to Ivory. Listen to what the statistics say.
What
do the statistics say? The statistics say over 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Because of.
And of those marriages that end in divorce, I believe it's well over half, somewhere between 50 to 75%. There's some form of infidelity that happens in the course of the relationship. That's what statistics say.
Okay, so let's unpack these statistics even more. Now, was the fidelity?
I want you to sit on that for a second, though. So while you
Okay,
think I'm saying something, I'm telling you the statistics say it's more likely that someone's going to cheat than they won't.
Okay, so hold on.
You glossing past that, but that's all right. Keep going.
Hold on. Is the cheating happening once the marriage is over? Because during when the marriage is over.
During the course of the marriage,
but you're still married, but that shit's over, right? Like we just need to go ahead and say we getting separated because this said we come on, it ain't working. Let's be for real.
Oh, you talking about no.
You mean like we're in it? Because how do you prove from the stats that that's where the cheating happened? You know what I'm saying? Like these could be inflated numbers.
Saying you think that is during the separation period and people are no longer together, then that's when
damn near separated period. Y'all sleeping in separate rooms. Like that part. Y'all know everybody knows that part. The sleeping
ain't got busy in 3 months.
Right.
Denise, you can believe that if you want to. That's up to you. Again, you are leading yourself to more delusion if you think that those statistics are talking about people who separate and then they find separate boyfriends and girlfriends after they separate, or
Destiny, you're right. That is still cheating. I'm not gonna say it's not.
Right.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Well, I think that the question is such a loaded question because for me, I go back to what I said last week. I firmly believe. So you talk about the statistics, the 50%, the 70% that get divorced. I firmly believe that's because there's way too many people who are getting married who don't have any business getting married. There's way too many people who are shacking up who don't have any business shacking up. There's way too many people who are out here fucking who don't have any sense doing such, right? There's way too many people who are out there contaminating the space of love because they have a void that needs to be filled within them. So it's easy to say that, divorce ends in, or marriage ends in divorce 50% because people are cheating. Well, they shouldn't have fucking been married anyways, right? There's a high percentage of those people that probably shouldn't have gotten together, but because it is so easy to marry somebody, it's easy to cheat, as opposed to if, I've got some old school beliefs, right? But as opposed to going and doing the marriage counseling and seeing if we're really even compatible for each other, as opposed to, I just really, 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 really like you and I need you by me. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But like, is this really what we're doing here? Right. And I think that you should do the work and earn a marriage. I don't think everybody should just get a fucking marriage license because you have the money and you want to go stand in a pretty dress and you want to spend some dollars for a wedding, right? I don't think everybody should just get married because you want to. I think the same way you got to work out of a marriage to get divorced, you should work into one to get married, because that would change your statistics because people are together because they want to make this work. I'm not going to leave you. We're gonna fight through whatever we gotta fight through our human ways. We're gonna make this work, as opposed to fuck this, I'm out of here. And so the statistics
can only speak,
are
you
there,
can
but
only speak as an individual on that,
before
Nikki.
they even get married.
You can only speak on that as an individual.
I just had my hand up because I worked my way into my marriage, so maybe that's why it's maybe more trust. There was a lot of work.
Sure.
What does that work look like?
We went to premarital counseling for a year and a half.
A year and a half. Wow.
That's good.
Okay.
We had to make financial plans. We had to do genealogies. I probably read 20 books.
Wow.
Was this during an engagement, or did y'all do this and then get engaged? Or was this part of the engagement process?
No, we did that and then got engaged.
No shit. Okay. That's what's up.
I don't know if y'all be watching Ivory content, but she's one of them happy people couples. So y'all need to listen to what she's saying. Y'all think I'm asking these questions for the show? I'm asking for myself.
No. Hold on. Don't ask Ivory nothing. Let me say one thing first of all. So number one, it says that close to 50% of all divorces in America end in divorce, and the number one cause is first infidelity, and second financial issues. Now, let me get back to don't listen to Ivory. No, Ivory, you can relax on this, Ivory. You can relax. The reason I say don't listen to Ivory, because don't listen and look at the good stuff. But then on the flip side, when she talks about submission and other cuss words that y'all don't like hearing, then y'all be like, nah, I ain't doing all of that.
Oh
See,
no, I
there's a
didn't say
lot that
that.
comes with the supposed
You don't have a problem
happy
with submission.
relationship.
Ain't nobody on this call said they wouldn't submit.
We down with the shits.
Ivory.
We down with it. We always
We
been
down
down
with
with it.
the
We been
submission.
said we down with the shits.
They have. They always said they were.
I'm about to,
Yes.
I'm gonna go pull
You
up
gonna
some
have to
old.
find some old clips, clip it
I
up,
am
throw
going
it
to
in,
find
throw
some
it in free
old
thinkers
clips.
later.
I'm about to find some old clips because everybody get in their own mindset about how
We ain't gonna
how
find one
they
on
gonna
me and
run
Denise
something.
because we've had a whole conversations about submission. We had a whole episode on submission.
Oh, okay. Y'all was all cool with the man having final say so.
For sure.
Yes.
If I'm marrying a man, that means that he has the leadership qualities to be my husband, to be the father of my children, to run my household. It's on you, baby. I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm chilling.
Please.
Okay.
Please. Please do me the favor and the honor, baby. Let me do my job so you can do yours.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, okay. I take that back. You know what? That could have been another. I gotta do a single show too. That could have been bleeding into some of that stuff.
People.
I'll be
That was
hearing.
them folk. That was them folk, baby. That was
I was
them.
like, hold on, y'all don't be. Okay.
Me
so,
and Nikki
all right,
ready to
I
rest
take
in
that.
our femininity. We don't got time for this anymore.
Okay. All right, hold on for a second. Oh, Anna gone. Chavis, I don't know if you could talk. I haven't heard anything from you yet. What are your thoughts just on? We got more into the relationship side of trust, but what is your thoughts on trust? How you manage trust? How do you give trust? How do people earn your trust? Just give me a quick thought on some of the things you've been thinking based off what the conversation been.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Glad to be here. Great conversation. I'll say trust comes through, what some of the sisters said. It does take time. I think trust is bonded on agreements. There will be some critical times, but it is how you handle those critical situations that can also build not just trust, but also rapport with your partner that keeps them engaged. I also think it requires a commitment to being open and transparent so that your partner knows that they can give you their second opinion, but also that you can give them theirs. And in that creates a safe space that results in trust. I have been in some extremely distrusting relationships, but I am happy to have a partner in my life that we just agree to teamwork, and that's a breath of fresh air as you both are individually struggling or individually thriving. So again, I think it takes time, but I think that time is bonded on agreements. I do think there'll be some critical times, but trust will build through it if you all handle yourself in the way your partner wants you to. And even in those times where you may not, your partner should have the power to reconcile that matter with you, and after that you'll say, wow, okay, we have a shared vision. She understands or he understands, and man, I trust her with that. I trust her with that. So again, I think it comes through that circular motion of circumstances, of events in the relationship. You all talked about shacking up earlier. I've done that myself, and I do think
you believe it's a good or bad thing to shack up.
I think it depends on the couple. If brother man is independent and a contributor, then I don't think it's a horrible thing that he moves in with her. If she's working, if she's, you know, got foresight, I don't think it's a bad thing to move in with the guy, like brother was saying earlier. But I do think you know, it's determined on, you know, both parties. Certainly, we have a lot of war stories and a lot of horrible stories, but we also have some great stories of folks who shacked up and made it permanent, and they didn't let nobody put no labels on them. They didn't let nobody put no timetable on them. They were shacking up, teammates, and when it developed to where they had the financial capital to get married, didn't nothing really change. So I'm kind of in the middle with the shacking. You know, the scriptures give regard against that as well. But the scriptures say during wartime, if a man finds a wife, there's a 30-day process of getting to know each other. And obviously the time with the Most High God is different than the time that we regard. But I do think there's a courting period, but I don't, you know, I think the older we get, the girlfriend, boyfriend thing, you know, becomes futile, or we adults, you know, linking for intimacy, and intimacy ain't just sex. But can we talk deep? Can we spend time together? You know, will I be there when you need it? Will you be there when I need it? And we may not have no money.
Right.
But there's so many other things. You know what I'm saying? Like my partner would tell me, the police ain't worried about you. You know what I'm saying? And I'll hear that shit. I'll hear that shit in Abilene, driving down 20, and that reassuring element develops and builds trust. So I appreciate y'all giving me the space to say that. It's taking a lot of learning, right? Right, Nikki?
Man.
Right.
I think that's what makes trust so powerful, though. And I think that as we age, we should be holding trust to like this very high regard. Like it's this ultimate safe word, like, because everybody ain't got it. And we've all been, like I said, we've all had our trust completely shattered, betrayed at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So it's easy to not trust. But I always appreciate people, and I'm one of those people as well. So I appreciate within myself the ability to still give people trust, even though I don't have to, right? But I choose to because I want to start from something, you know. But to the point that we had talked about earlier, Denise, I was telling Q, I don't think it's the fact that we were surprised by what he said last week, as though we don't allow people to be people. We wouldn't allow our partner to have a mistake, right? Or to make a human error. Like, it's not that we go in blindfolded with just 100% trust and you're never going to do anything wrong to me because I love you. I think it's the fact that you've been given the title of my husband or my wife, and that's supposed to mean something more than I kind of trust him. Well, why are we even getting married? Yeah. Why are we even doing any of this if I don't really give you the trust that I need in order for me to feel safe in this relationship, right, or to do my job? So I love that people trust. I love that people still put their heart and their neck out there on a limb, you know, because we don't know in any relationship, friendship or intimate, at what point may the rug get pulled out from underneath our feet. And no, of course, nobody wants it, but we can't control it either. But in a partnership situation, in a spousalship situation, I just feel like the rules are a little bit different.
Let me say this though, Quentin, because I feel like me and you have had this argument before. I do trust, but I trust what's in some way kind of verifiable. So I've told Quentin this before. I was very selective that my partner didn't have a lot of partners before me. Because the past is a good indicator of the future to me. And I need that trust that is not how you get down. So that was important to me. Quentin always say that shouldn't have been important to you. I'm like, yes, it was.
Yes.
To me, your past is a good indication of your future behavior. And so it was important to me. So
yeah, because who are you?
To trust. It's just easier to trust when I know that's not how you roll.
Yeah. Who are you? Who were you before I met you? What was your mindset like? Are you reckless with your body? Like, I don't expect to meet a man who's a virgin at
That
all,
part.
right? But I don't want to be with somebody who isn't at least somewhat yoked with me, right? Like you may have had a hoe phase. I feel you. Okay, that's cool. But we're 46. Are you still having hoe phases? Like, no. No. I think it's okay to have expectations, and it's okay to have standards, and that's definitely one of them. Absolutely. Because some of us are not playing for play, we're playing for keeps. Like, this is forever. So we got to work through all these little kinks and all these little bits and pieces. I feel you on that.
So I have a question. And it's for anybody. What are things you do to make yourself a trustworthy person?
Practice what I preach. Walk
Okay.
what I talk what I walk.
Competence. Be competent.
Yeah.
Oh, expound on that, Ivory.
People know that you are dependable. People know that they can rely upon you, and that you, for the most part, honor your word.
Mm.
I mean, it's
And
it's the
let me
same
add on to
thing
that.
that word is bond. If your word means nothing, then you kind of don't either. So your word has to mean something.
Let me add on to that though. And I agree. Yeah, your word has to mean something, but sometimes we look at it as just our word that we give. If you tell somebody you're gonna do something, then you do it. I was talking to my son probably about a year ago. I said it's equally important that you keep your word to yourself for things you say you're going to do.
Facts.
So when you tell somebody, oh yeah, I'm thinking about, starting up this business or starting school, or I'm gonna start working, whatever you say you're gonna do, you need to be as committed to your word to yourself as you are to other people. People look at that. Like, oh yeah, Q always saying he gonna do something. I ain't never did nothing. And that takes away from your level of trustworthiness.
Facts.
You don't keep your word to yourself.
Oh,
Just
and consistency.
Oof.
Yes, consistency.
You need to be the same person every time people meet you, as much as possible.
That is true.
Right.
I said, you know what? Let me tell you about this, since we was on the church kick yesterday, but I've been on church kick all year. One of the things I like about the church that I currently attend, my pastor, one of the most consistent pastors and preachers I've ever met. It means so much. I've been in areas and spaces where there's certain pastors that I'd be under, and from week to week, you don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know if they're gonna be happy, mad, disgruntled, they're gonna be fussing at people, they're gonna be venting and like, if you don't know, and you felt uncomfortable inviting someone to your church, because like,
Ooh.
I don't know what I'm gonna get from week to week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel comfortable and confident inviting somebody to my church because I know it's going to be what I expect is going to be what is going to be respectful. Even from a church standpoint, it's going to be professional. They're going to be considerate. They're going to be courteous. And that, like, I know what to expect. So I can feel comfortable saying, oh yeah, come with me.
Ooh, that's so good, Q. That's good. Okay, I have a question for the group. Once trust has been broken, I don't know if you asked this already. If you did, then go and move on past this one. Can it be rebuilt?
Yes.
How?
Simplest way, I'll let somebody explain it, but at the end of the day, trust is a choice.
Ooh, honey, let me tell you something. When somebody breaks my trust, they're cooked. I can't, that's one thing I can't. It's like, and well, I'll say, yeah, once somebody breaks my trust, they're cooked. If you lie to me, if you leave information out, if you're late as hell. Like it doesn't, like any kind of form of breaking trust, I'm just gonna always be like, I gotta prep myself to potentially protect myself from X from you. And other things, depending on what the thing was. Yeah, I never shake back from a distrustful situation. I just can't.
That's rough.
It's
That's real
rough.
rough, Denise.
It is. I can never shake back. I mean, me and my ex were together, and he did something, and like literally like 15 years later, I still think about that shit. And we were like 19, 20.
See, that's what I'm talking about, Rudy, earlier in the show.
Never forget. Never
Denise,
forget.
so why do you think that, like,
it's living rent free
do
in your
you
head,
think
Denise.
something in your history, your childhood, past experience play a role into how you operate and trust now?
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, because if you've been, trigger warning, sexually assaulted in any kind of way, you're always looking for signs because you're like, especially if it's from someone that you knew or something like that, because you're always in a, I got to protect myself mode. I got to know, I have to be hyper aware. So you're just hyper aware. So when somebody breaks your trust, you're just going to be hyper aware because you're like, I need to make sure that I can protect myself. So I feel like that was a good question because I would have never put that together, but definitely, for sure.
Yeah. Let me follow up with you, Denise, on this. Do you feel that mode of operation is more beneficial, detrimental, or neutral? Like, what that mindset do you?
It depends on the situation, right? Because if it is a dangerous situation, I'd already peak game. But if it comes down to like building bonds with new people, it's sometimes it's hard for me to do that. Like I'm the kind of person, I've been talking about that recently, where I'll hang out with people for a while and then I'm like space, you know what I mean? Like it's this kind of thing that I do to, like, I don't know, protect myself from being hurt in some kind of way. So it's beneficial when it's beneficial, and when it's not, it is not. Yeah.
Right.
I want to say that I think that trust can be rebuilt. I think I agree with you that trust is a choice. But I agree with what you said last week, that in regards to this space, there's levels to it. I think there are some acts of betrayal that I'm just not going to, I don't need to process this. We're done. I'm good. I'm straight.
Right.
There's, like, and it's been funny, right? Because over the years, you've seen me end relationships with people. And, you were like, nah, y'all are going to be good. Like, some time's going to pass. And I'm like, no, Q, I don't operate like that. Like,
terrible.
But I always admire your ability to, like, give people 97 chances, right? I'm not that way. And I don't know. I'm just not that way, right? Like, but at the same time, I have an ex who broke every fucking code you could possibly break, right? I don't trust this person as far as I can throw them, but through the course of years worth of knowing each other and then really getting to see who this person really is by these acts of distrust and betrayal, I just shifted their position to, now I see the whole you. So there isn't a you that there isn't a part of you that can break my heart. You can't disappoint me moving forward. Like, I already know the depths of what you're capable of, right? So I don't trust this person, but I still operate with them in a certain capacity because I've chosen to allow this person to stay in my life, and I benefit from how I benefit, and he does too. And it's not even like an intimate thing. It's just we've got things outside of the intimate part that were important. The intimate part is not a part of the relationship anymore. So I think in some situations you can rebuild trust depending on what the infraction was. But it all goes down to words and actions matching each other. You can say a million fucking things. If you don't do any of those things, then it's just manipulation. It's just lip service. So I think if a person really does work hard and they really are dutiful to their word, and they, like Ivory said, they express consistency, they show consistency, they show discipline, like they really and truly put forth the effort to be a trustworthy person, to have trust given back to them. I think it's fair for some people, given the situation. Yes.
I think the
You know
first
what
thing is a true apology, true acknowledgement,
I
and
was
true
just
accountability.
I was just gonna say something like, if they don't acknowledge that they messed up your
Right.
trust, then why are you even bothering with
Right.
them? You know,
Right.
like, because
Right.
sometimes they don't even care. You know,
Right.
but if they acknowledge it and then they're like, oh, I didn't realize, my bad, or whatever the case may be, then okay, we can grow from that. But
Right.
if I'm trusting you only because I caught you and you weren't even gonna say nothing, then like, really, what do I really want to trust you? Because you weren't gonna say nothing until somebody,
Right.
or something happened to where I
Right.
found out.
You know what?
Right.
Even that, I take that a step further. Because are you in a campfire, Anna?
I know,
Uh,
essentially, she got fire
I
corner.
am
Yeah,
actually.
she's in a
I'm in
campfire,
my
right?
backyard chilling right now.
She's in a
Oh, okay.
campfire of one.
I'm all
So
like, I'm chilling right now. I got my fire pit going,
oh yeah,
smoking a
no, that's,
blunt,
hey,
listening to
it feel
music.
awesome. It feel good outside. It's perfect weather.
It really
Um,
is.
So I say it's a step further. What was I gonna say as far as step further? If you because with the cheating part of it, if somebody cheating a bit, I don't expect you to be honest during that. But what I do expect is for you to take full accountability for your actions. And don't be like, well, you wasn't talking to me and we ain't been communicating,
Right.
and I just felt lonely because you ain't, like, you try to low-key defer some of the blame off on other people, or I lost my job and I ain't been feeling like. You take full accountability for your actions.
Right.
You know what? I don't even care what you did 6 months ago. This was me. I messed up.
Yeah.
I'm completely wrong. I'm not going to point or deflect or put the blame on anybody else other than my poor actions.
And that's
And
so
then
hard to
there's a
find.
possibility to move forward from that, only if you're taking full accountability, though. What are you saying, Anna?
That accountability is so hard to find nowadays. Like, it's so hard for people to take full accountability for their actions, like, because it always goes up with some kind of excuse. Well, you did, it's never like, look, I know I did this and I did that. It's
But
always,
what about you? But what about you? No.
yep.
And that's one thing. Let me give you a side note for everybody.
Mhm.
When it's your turn to sit in that hot seat, for whatever it is, you let it be about you. Even if somebody say, hey, babe, I need to sit down with you because I have an issue about you doing this. It's about you at that time. They asked for an exclusive time to talk about an issue that they have with you. Even if that person themselves is doing something similar that you don't like, that's not the time for you to point, well, but you be doing, nope. You take your medicine at that time.
I don't think
Take
people
full
are
accountability.
mature. Some people are mature.
That's why I'm giving pointers right now.
Like,
and so what I can also do is that I can expect the same in return when it's my turn. Hey, babe, I need to sit down. I'm having an issue with certain thing right here. I need to talk to you about. So when I sit down with you and it's your turn, you take your medicine. We're not going to be a what you do this, but you do this. No, that it's not productive doing that.
The cigar.
That's
I
maturity.
add this too?
Just take it. Go ahead.
If you're in the process of trying to re-earn trust, you got to eat that for a little while.
Right.
Like, you can't be impatient or upset and all this other stuff, because the person still is trying to get to the point where they can trust you, but they don't trust you yet. If you really want this person to get to the point where they can trust you, you have to be understanding of the fact that they just still don't trust you yet. So if they asking you questions, if they do whatever it is that they're doing, that's on your body. Like, you got to eat that. And if you're not willing to do that, then you need to walk away. If you're not willing to really earn trust back, you gotta just leave, because you're making it worse by not being understanding of the hurt and the pain that you've caused.
Let me add something in here though, Denise.
Oh Lord.
If trust has been breached, and you're trying to find a way to regain that trust, I don't care what I did. I'm not gonna let you beat me up in the process. That's not gonna happen.
You get beat up if you want
It's not gonna happen. And I don't mean physically.
You gonna take a couple licks. It's gonna be a few.
Yeah, I mean, look, you done fucked up.
I don't do that.
And
Call
I
me
get the beating up. I
Call
get
me
the
Javante Davis. You get beat up until I get there.
This is what
and that's when, you know
don't
what,
do
and
it.
then I would exit stage left. I'm not doing that. If you working through something, being like, well, you know, no, I need you to stay home. I'm still not there. I don't do. Oh, okay. Well, then, all right. If I need a curfew, then I need a curfew. That's one of the things I do. But you, doing spiteful stuff, like
That's not what I said.
You gotta be spiteful. You gotta be spiteful.
because exactly, but they doing that because it's their form of payback or retribution. So it's
Yeah,
like
I don't fuck with that.
callous, and I'm gonna make them, like, I'm gonna put them through the ring. No, I'm not.
And
I don't.
Am I going
I'm
to
not
ask
down
you
with
a
that.
million questions
No,
and
I'm
ask
not
you
down
to
with
tell
that.
me the same story a million
Ask me
times?
questions. No, asking
to make
questions
sure
is okay.
that you're not lying? Yeah.
I agree with that. Asking questions is okay.
Right.
But then you do some of that stuff, and then you get people who they give, and then they'll just up and leave in the middle of the night and don't tell nobody where they're going.
No.
I want you to feel how I felt. Like, no, I'm not about to do that. We still gonna have some.
That's not how to regain trust.
I will admit, I honestly, look, I'm
So
not
you
gonna,
did that.
I'm not even gonna cap. I've done that. I
know what I'm talking about, Anna. I know what I'm talking about.
Bitch. I will say that. but I grew up. You know, when you're young, you immature, you don't know things.
I know what I'm talking about, Anna.
Oh, but back to what you were saying earlier about like your word, you know, it even says it biblically, let your yes be yes and your no be no. So like biblically it says that. And I was just talking to my friend about that the other day, because
and the Bible paraphrasing is like, don't even put it on your mama. Don't be swearing on other people. I put that on. No, you ain't got to put that on nothing. Just let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yes and your no be no. And you know, you stand firm in your word.
To swear by the heavens, and I put that on God. You just say yes.
Yes or no. And you know what I found is when they swear on their mama, or I swear on my kids, or I swear on it, they usually 9 times out of 10 them motherfuckers lying.
Super lying.
You know, somebody said that to me once. I think I was supposed to meet with somebody somewhere, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like somebody wanted me to meet them, or I don't know, they needed something from me. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. And he's like, well, how do I know you're gonna be there? I said, because I just said it.
Wow.
Well, my word is it. If I say, are you gonna call me? I don't need to do nothing. Once I say a thing, then that's what it is. Unless I tell you otherwise, then that's what it is. That's my word.
That's how I've been. Like I can say that, you know, like within this past year, I cannot say that I have been like that, because, you know, like y'all already know, I'm not even gonna go through what I've been through this year. So like this year I've like, yeah, I'll be there and then I forget. But that's called grief brain, apparently, where you forget things that you've had to committed, and you know, so but prior to, like, yeah, I'll be there, and I was gonna be there, you know, like there was no second guessing. And that's where my reputation came in. But back to the relationship things that we were talking about, like I was looking at this one thing. This dude made a TikTok recently, and he was talking about how going back to the submissive women, how you get your women to be submissive is you stand by your word. Like if you, as a man, if you want to know how you can make your woman submissive, if you say you're going to do something for her, don't make her wait like a year, 6 months, 3 months later to see your word manifest. If you're a man, then you should like already be like, you say it, you go get it done within that week, within that 2 weeks, to make her feel like she can trust you and trust your word. And that way she can let your guard down. the way he put it was crazy. He asked this dude, he was like, when you seen, did your mom was single? Was she a single mom? He said yes. He was like, because women got so much attitude, like we're what did he say? We're masculine women, but we're not masculine women. We are in survival mode type women. And like he was like, did you see your mom struggling? And he was like, well, yeah, but she still made it happen. Well, yeah, but what you didn't see was like she went and she did that herself. You didn't see her crying. You didn't see her tolling. You didn't see none of that. Now this same woman is doing the same thing for your family and for you, but you ain't even recognizing this, that she's going through the same things that you recognize that your mom went through. And I mean, I don't know if it helped the dude, but it is real. It's the truth, like just stand firm and be that support for that woman so she can let her femininity and her submissive side be, if that makes sense.
Let me dang, what was I about to ask? Oh,
Yeah, somebody has some music on. Can y'all catch our music on?
Oh, sorry.
And I hear vibing.
Anna back there jamming.
Have you
got the
ever
fire, the
broken another
blood.
person's trust?
Have you ever broken another person's trust?
Yes. Have you been the one to break trust with another person?
Oh, for sure. Not showing up on time. Once you don't show up on time, like that will really mess a person's trust up. Like it's important to show up on time. I was late today. Okay, I'm sorry. Typically I'm on time. Forgive me. But like you show up late to some stuff, like especially like if you're in some sort of entertainment or really anything, a job, anything like that. Time is money for real.
That is true.
Time is really money. When you paying by the hour for something and you need to be there, and I've only booked an hour, which that's why I always pad my time with 2 hours because I know be late. So it's like, yeah, once I feel like being on time is, if you're not on time, like that'll really mess up people's trust when it comes to you. And it's small, but it's big.
True. That is true. So what do you do to regain that trust after you've breached somebody's trust in that area, Denise?
Well, you got to show up on time. And if you can't show up on time, you got to let people know you can't show up on time.
Communicate.
That's the main thing, is not showing up on time and not telling people you're not showing up on time. I think
no communication whatsoever.
Yeah. Like I did today. I literally did all this today. I'm sorry, guys.
No, listen. I had a friend, and I mean I love her, so but still love her. But she was late all the time. So what I ended up telling her, because I don't cut people or anything like that. I just told her, when I have a dedicated amount of time, like I have a block of a day, you will never cross my mind. Like,
I knew Ivy was gonna say something that's gonna cut somebody.
You will never cross my mind. The only time I think about calling you now to hang out is if I just am freewheeling all day, because I know I need time to waste.
That's
Just
true.
being honest.
Right.
If you ever want the blocks of my time again, and as you get older and you have families and stuff, really all you have is start having
time is more dedicated at that point.
And if you ever start wanting those blocks again, well, you're gonna have to show up on time.
Well, as the resident late person of all things, my whole
was
life,
late today.
I am
late today.
I work. I had 2 jobs today. I didn't even get home until like 7:45. No, as the resident late person, I unfortunately accept tardiness as disrespect. I know it's disrespectful. I know that, and I know my intention is. It is, and I know that, and I'm very well aware of that. And I don't think that people should accommodate me at all. But I always fucking appreciate those that are like, it's Nikki. Like, my time management has been horrible since probably middle school. Are there things I could do to improve that? I'm sure. Am I actively trying to be on time? I swear I am. Like, I swear I am. Yeah, I swear I am.
You gotta believe me.
Huh?
I said, you gotta believe me.
I mean, I promise I do, you know, like I mean, and I have no excuses for why I'm late. Just my time management is absolute shit. I think somehow the clock has more time on it than what it actually does. And
Right.
you know, so I don't commit myself to things that I know need specifics, right? Like, I don't commit myself to something that I know someone's like, no, I need you here at 7 a.m. Well, I can be there at 7 a.m., but there's a possibility I might not be, right? So like I definitely do not volunteer for spaces that I know I may fuck them up, because I don't want to set somebody else's day off. I don't want to be the weak link in the chain, right? Outside of that though, you know, because I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna be late, but I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna bring dessert and I'm gonna bring food. Like, I'm showing up. I don't come empty-handed. I'm not stupid. Like, I'm showing up and I'm apologizing and I'm calling and texting. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm coming. You want me to stop and get something? Trying to, like, you know, eat some dirt. But outside of my time management being poor, I would have to have somebody tell me that I broke their trust, because I really don't feel like there's many scenarios in which I've been trusted with something, or I've been trusted for something, and I broke that for somebody else. I really do try to live by my word and be exactly who I say I am and be exactly who you think I am. Like, I really try to be 100% of the time. So I mean, I'm not going to say that I haven't maybe broken someone's trust, but I think that it's been done to me countless times, and I don't think that I've ever returned that to somebody. Like, that's just not how I get. It bothers me in my spirit to even think that somebody may distrust me because of something I did or something I said or something I participated in. So I'm very, very mindful of that, but I'm also super mindful of how other people feel. And I don't want to do that to somebody. I don't want somebody to distrust me because of something I did or something I said. So I try to be very mindful of those spaces anyways.
Yeah. We got 3
Can I ask
minutes.
a question?
Yeah, go ahead. We got 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. Have you ever been distrusted without reason? And how do you respond to that? Like,
I'm a black man.
Misplaced distrust.
Right.
I'm a black man. What kind of question is that?
That's true. Sorry.
So, like, Denise, I struggle with that, right? But I also have to remember that if this person doesn't know me to my core, to my spirit, they should come a little bit trepidatious, right? At this point, we've all, you know, again, been betrayed, and we've all been lied to. We've all been through shit to where it's like, you should be a little bit standoffish with new relationships of any sort, platonic or intimate.
It's only if it's equal across the board, Nikki.
What?
Now, if my boss or somebody don't trust me just because, and then this Paul comes in here 2 months later, and then he just give him the keys to the kingdom. All of, like, hold on, you don't know him, so why you giving him all that trust that you ain't never gave me?
Sure. Well, but this is where people's biases come into play. You know, they do.
But that's how I judge, though. Now, if you just don't trust anybody, okay, as long as you equal across the board, that's all right. But when you lend certain concessions to other people unwarranted that you're not lending to me, then yeah, I got issues with that. But to go back to what you said, that's not a me problem. That's a you problem.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that makes trust so valuable to me.
And in that, I don't trust you either, because you're not a fair-minded person. So now I don't trust you.
Right. Right. Is being trusted important to y'all? Is that something that you find valuable when you learn that people trust you? Like, how does that make you feel? It is important
to me. To me, it's absolutely important. Now, for those who don't, like you said, you don't trust me and there's no reason for it, not a me problem. It's a you problem. But
Right.
overall, people who are close to me, people who know me, and people just in casual encounters, it is important that people find a certain level of trust in me. If not, because even if you don't fully know me, I should present myself in a certain type of way that lends to me being somewhat trustworthy.
Yeah.
Like it lends to you giving me the benefit of the doubt. You know, some
Right.
people you just see and they just seem kind of shady. You just, like, I can't put my finger on it, but they just seem, I don't know about that. I
Mhm.
never want to come off as one of those type of people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But that goes to your character. That goes to your actions matching your words. That goes to you entirely, right? Because if you practice what you preach and you do what you say you're going to do, well, you don't give me the room to distrust you, to not believe that your word is you're going to follow through with your word.
I don't know. Sometimes you just know. Like there's just a feeling. Like, Denise, you know what I'm talking about. You just know. Like you just
Having a
know you
feeling
can't
is not
trust.
knowing. That's not
You just
knowing,
look.
Anna.
Okay.
Oh, okay, Q.
Here's
But
a
when we
real
say
life scenario.
discernment,
Real life
you're
scenario.
down.
Discernment. There you go.
You still
Discernment
don't
is
know.
very real.
You don't know. You got a feeling.
You got
Now,
a
your
feeling, but
discernment
you
or that
find
feeling
out in
could
the long
lead you to
run.
be more cautious.
Right.
Listen. You
Even
find out in
still,
the long
over the
run that you
course
should have listened to your gut
of
feeling in the beginning because they ended up you ended up losing their trust anyway, or they lost your trust anyways for the stuff that they did. So,
I think that's dangerous,
like
Anna.
I've seen that a few times.
No, but
Like,
Anna, okay, so the reason I say I think that's dangerous is because if you distrust someone
I didn't
without
say I
any cause or reason,
distrusted them. What I said was,
okay,
you have this feeling that
okay,
you just not, you shouldn't be trusting them. That's what I said.
okay,
And
I'm
what
okay with the feeling. I'm okay
yeah,
with the feeling.
and you end up trusting them because you like, nah, let me just give them a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm tripping. Maybe it's
No,
my past issues that are projected onto him or her. And so let me just not be like this. But
Right.
your gut is telling you, bitch, you stupid, motherfucker, you stupid. And then you still just go in and do it anyways, and then you find
you
out
go
like,
in and do what?
oh damn, this
What you going
motherfucker
in
pulled the
doing?
okey doke on me.
It depends on what you're saying. What are you going in doing, Anna?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Does it matter?
Yes,
Does
it
it
does
matter?
matter because there's certain things that you
Okay,
shouldn't be doing
so
with
I
somebody
got
you have limited levels of trust with.
different scenarios. Like I knew I shouldn't have.
Okay, go into business with someone. They have a business
Okay,
proposal, and you get that feeling about it kind of shaky, and you don't know how much you shouldn't be doing business with them until you get a
Right.
no,
better
no,
grip
no, no,
on it.
no. Hold on. Whoa. That contradicts everything that you just were trying to
Tell me
say,
how.
though.
Tell me how.
Because you said you were just trying to get after me for this living off of that feeling, going off of just that gut feeling. Because how can back to playing the devil's advocate, how can you not trust somebody in business just off of gut feeling?
No, you're talking about different situations, and I'm saying some situations require a higher level of trust
Mm-hmm.
or comfortability than others. Now,
Well,
there's
I
certain
mean, in
small things that
business,
you can distrust somebody and they haven't even earned your distrust, and it kind of makes your character look bad because you treat them a certain type of way when they haven't done anything to deserve it. So you could be cautious and you can be more attentive and have your antennas up in as far as how you move. But if you're doing actions or your distrust causes you to give favoritism to another person that didn't warrant it, it looks bad on your character. So it's just something that you got to be careful about.
and so I didn't say that I wasn't going to give them a chance. See, that's putting, like not saying that I was going to not give them a chance. So I keep my character intact because my intuition is telling me something doesn't necessarily
Well, some
mean
things you
that
should
it's
give them a
always
chance
going to
on.
be that person, and it's
It's
always
still
going to
case by case. Like I said, don't give
right.
them a chance on everything. I ain't saying go into business with them.
But at the same time, coming as a business
Or sleep
person,
with them.
even though like
Yeah,
and
I took the lighter. I took a lighter. I took a lighter scenario. Oh, I be like, yeah, don't sleep with them either. Since I put it out there like that, she's like, don't sleep with him.
Don't sleep with them either.
All right.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna enact Smack's 52-week rule.
Right.
I'm telling
I
you,
don't know.
I'm a stall out queen. I'm a stall out queen. I'm a stall you out. I have to.
Now, his last explanation of that 52-week rule had me a little confused. I got to get more clarity on it. We was in person. He gave me a rundown. I'm like, okay, that ain't how I
need what we talking about. Yeah. I'm like,
we've been talking about this for years, y'all.
I think he made some modifications. I'm gonna have to get clarity on that. I'm not even sure what it is at this point now.
It's basically kind of like, well, the Axe Max to come on, but it's almost like
the 3 month rule.
Denise, you wasn't there when we was live in person. I had him give me a rundown on the 52-week rule, and it seemed a little different than what I remember hearing initially.
It's like you friend zone a person for a year to see what's up with them.
See, his last explanation didn't kind of. It sounded a little different.
It's not necessarily friend zone buddy for a year. It's just if you have a busy enough life to where you have to tend to business and you have to tend to children and you have to tend to education, like you have things that you have to do. You still do those things, right? But you set aside, let's say, 1 day a week for this person that you're talking to. This is the night we're gonna go out. This is the night we're gonna have dinner. This is the night we're gonna be together. This is our night, as opposed to, trying to shove them down your throat 6 fucking nights a week, and get all the shit in your system right up front. When let me just stall you out. Let's just see each other once a week for a while, right? Like, because in the grand scheme of things, most of us don't even have a fucking free night in our week. Like, there's some nights you're just not gonna even have the bandwidth emotionally, spiritually, or physically to have another person come into your space, right? But when we get the gimmies and we get these new relationships, we just think we're going to spend every fucking waking minute with them because we like them so much, and we burn each other out. And within a couple months, we did everything. We fuck 900 times. Like, we don't really have anything common, with the exception of maybe, let's say, great sex and a couple restaurants and some drinks and whatever, like, as opposed to getting to know somebody and stretching it out a little bit. And it's not saying that you can't be intimate with this person. You just throwing it out a little bit, because realistically, most of us don't even like most of the people that we fuck with. So it doesn't last long. And you done burnt yourself out. You done ran up your body count. You done ran up your mileage. You know what I'm saying? You done spent money. You done got kids involved. You done got friends and family involved. And it's like, let me just hold on a little bit. Just slow this down. Like, let's just slow it down a little bit. And I think that that's hella critical in all relationships, to just let people present themselves, let them show themselves, the real them, because we all know we get the representative, in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And once that representative decides that they finna clock out and the real person shows up, you're like, I don't even know if I really like you, actually.
Right.
I don't know. So that's, I'm sure I paraphrased the 52.
So no, that's a good paraphrasing though. Like that's some real shit. Like I don't mind doing that. I thought it was like the 30-day rule, like the 90-day rule, where you ain't no nookie, no nothing, just getting to know each other type shit.
Right. And that's what that is too. It's the longer version of getting to know someone. But in the grand scheme of things, like, how many relationships, let's say, have you had in a year, 2 years, 3 years, where it's just back to back to back to back to back to back to back, like,
I think that's one thing about me, is like, when I get out of a relationship, I try not to jump into something just because I don't want to bring emotional baggage. Because I've done it, don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like, I've done that. But now that I'm older and, like, I just
wiser,
don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to bring that to the next man, and he'll be like, "Oh, you just treated me like that because you're laughing."
Right.
Like,
and nobody wants to be a rebound. I don't want to be one, so I don't want to let somebody. I don't want somebody else to be one either.
Right. So I just chill out. Like, fix me. Ask myself, like I've told y'all before. Ask myself those difficult questions, like, what is it that I did? What could I have done better? Like, just learn from the last. So I don't really, but yeah, I used to be toxic than a mother.
Ooh, okay. So let me ask a quick question because we going into 140. So let's give a quick 5 minutes and get out of here. All right.
How we do?
Yeah, we need a timer and just says click, just cut everything off. Just
You know,
we
that
ain't even
would be
say
a good
bye.
one to where they should have
No,
that on
you did
StreamYard.
that. You
So
fucking
where
did
it
that one
automatically
night.
would time go off and cut off.
You did that to us one night a couple years
Oh, yeah,
ago.
I
I was so mad.
say
I
we're
think
doing a
Denise was
hard
on
cut.
here
Like,
too.
all
We
right,
were
there
like,
you
well,
go.
this is not over.
Bye.
You're like, it's over. What?
So
But this is where we get into parking lot conversations. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, it's always the
because
end.
how long did we go last week? We went for a while last week.
Like
was
2.5
2
hours almost.
Yeah, it was 2 hours.
Was
Yeah.
it 2
All
hours?
right, so
It
yeah,
felt
we
longer.
need to dial it
was
I
back.
thought it was
then.
like maybe 2
conversation.
hours and a few more minutes.
Yeah, it was a
we
great
need to dial it back.
conversation.
How much does forgiveness play a part in trust?
Oh, everything.
How
Everything.
much does forgiveness?
Everything.
Ooh.
Because also grace has a part to do with trust. You know, forgiveness is, you know, like I think grace and forgiveness are both neck and neck. Because in order to be able to trust someone, you got to give them grace enough to be able to make mistakes.
Right.
And then you got to forgive them for those mistakes that they've done. As long as disclaimer, as long as it's not a repetitive one.
No, I agree.
So
Anna,
that's
let me.
where I
Oh,
get
God.
like after
Anna.
repetitive, huh?
You just said something so, or you sparked something in me so fresh. Let me add on to what you just said. If a person knows you lack a forgiveness component, it's going to be hard for them to trust you because now that person.
So you're unequally yoked.
Well, no. Follow me what I'm saying right here. You might be right, but follow my train of thought. If I know, say for instance, Ivory, if I know Ivory got a 0 tolerance and her cutoff game is just like that. So the moment I cross her, then we're done and she not gonna rock with me no more. How much can I trust her knowing that anything that I do that rubs her the wrong way, we done? And number 2, how transparent, how honest do you expect the person to be when if they find out this flaw about me, if they find out I didn't, I had a little couple months where I had a little gambling issue and I wasn't doing right with the money. Or if I had a little, like whatever the case is, if I know her cutoff game is that rough, how comfortable will I ever even feel being transparent or even trying to move forward? Do I even want to try to move forward in a relationship if I know it's going to be immediately cut off?
I think that in that situation, like it depends on the communication that you've had with this person. Like I go back to being unequally yoked. First off, you are already in a relationship that isn't meeting your basic standard needs. Okay, because you need someone that is willing to give you that forgiveness. And so you were compromising within that relationship.
Don't everybody
and
need that though?
Huh?
I said, don't everybody need that?
I mean, yes, but again, you can only get that from people that are actually, trying to heal, that are actually healing, that actually understand what forgiveness is. Because people can say that they forgive you all day long, but do they really know what forgiveness means? Like biblically, forgiving somebody is forgetting it as far as the east is to the west, meaning you never bring it up again. Know,
but even hold on, don't even go that far into it because there's some people who will openly say, no, if you cross me, then you're done. So they already put the banner up there. There's not going to be any forgiveness in these situations.
So at that point, it is your decision it is on you. Why are you making it a them problem? Because it's actually a you problem. You were
If you're in
choosing
a relationship, it's a
you.
both of y'all problem.
No,
Anytime,
it's not.
hold on.
Honestly,
Anytime you're in a
it's not.
relationship, then
No,
it's never a one person's problem. It's both of
no,
y'all
it's not.
problem, unless you
Because
exit the
before y'all get
relationship.
into before you get into a relationship with this person, that's already been a disclaimer. You
I got to
already
school you
knew
now,
at the
Anna.
very beginning, right? Like, because if this is a character trait in them, right? And if I'm getting
Mm-mm.
it wrong, if it's a character trait, and you said that you met them and they said that aren't forgiving, right? That's
Hold on,
already
Anna.
you crossing
Let me
that.
back
Am I
up,
not getting it
Anna.
right?
No, let me back up because I need you to make sure you focus on what I'm saying. In a relationship, it's not a they got a problem or I got a problem. If there's any person who has a problem in a relationship, that's a y'all problem. So
Right.
either you fix the problem or you get out the relationship. Those are the only two options.
And that's what our bottom line was.
Okay, but it can't. But I heard you say something about, well, that's a them problem. No, if you're in a
It
relationship, that's a y'all
it
problem.
but it was going back to what you were saying at the very beginning when we started, when you said the analogy. You said that you get to them, you get to know them, and they said when you were getting to know them that
Right.
they had a problem with trusting. Isn't that
Okay.
right? Like, we could play that back. Like, because if they had a problem at the beginning of
So
the
if your
relationship.
stance is that you shouldn't get into a relationship with somebody like that, then yes, I agree.
Yes,
But if you
absolutely.
are in a relationship with somebody, then you all,
Well,
both
what
of you
was
have a
it?
problem.
What was the problem at the beginning? What made them not trust you? Because obviously something's not, like, if they're not trusting you in the relationship, then why are they? What are they doing to have to forgive you? You know what I mean? Like, what happened in the relationship for them to forgive you? Does that make sense?
It does, but you just talking about something totally different than what I'm talking about. That's all. I
I
do
would listen.
understand what you're saying, but those are two
Oh,
different things.
I'm trying to keep my thought because it was
Oh,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead,
probably
Ivan.
something
I'm
y'all
sorry.
was saying 2 minutes ago. I think it's hard because you learn this stuff as you get older, and you allow for so much trying to figure out when you're young. Like, you meet a friend and they tell you, oh, I ghost my friends when I move, or when I, like, and you think, oh, that's weird. They wouldn't do that to me, or we're gonna be different. But as you get
Mm-hmm.
older, you like, okay, a person tell you they didn't ghosted their other 15 friends for the last 20 years. I'm gonna get ghosted. That doesn't make me not in a relationship with a person, and it doesn't make me not give them some conditional trust. Um, but I will say, in the deepest, like the core of the people who have like my heart in trust, understand that commitment and loyalty are huge to me. And so I've told those people, it really doesn't matter what you do. Like, we down for life. I need
Right.
to know that too. I need to know I can make mistakes. I need to know we can get this wrong and that we can come and fix it. And that's a very small group of people, though, right? I'm not putting that pressure on everybody I meet, or even a lot of my associates are just, surface level friends.
Right.
But there's a core.
Friendships and associates, yes. Exclusive
There's a
relationship, no.
core.
That's gonna be
Even
a deal.
there's
That's
some
gonna be a
friends,
breaker for
right?
me.
But they don't
Right.
have that kind of pressure. But there's a level of kind of family friend and family thing where if I'm gonna let you in deep, I need to know you are committed to working things out with me. If you
Right.
don't work through things with people when things get hard, you will not have my heart. I'm just not sharing.
True. And it's one of the it's a simple thing. So and then Denise, y'all give a last word. We're gonna jump out of here. It always reminds me back. I was a child who used to get whooped. I got whoopings, spankings, whatever y'all want to call it. One of the things they used to say about me, they're like, Quentin is the most honest boy you never. He's just so honest. He always tell the truth.
Talk
Always,
himself into a
always tell
whooping.
the truth.
Talk himself into a whooping.
Yeah. Thank you. Even if I was gonna get a whooping, I would still tell the truth. Yeah, I did it. I did it. So, and my dad was he was an indiscriminate whooper. He just whooped. He whooped y'all time. He whooped us. He whooped other people's kids. He whooped
Yep.
everybody who was in the vicinity of the belt. They got it.
Yep.
there came a certain age, if I knew that there was going to be a zero tolerance and telling the truth did not benefit me at all, I stopped telling the truth.
Mhm.
I'm like, why am I telling the truth when I know what the consequences is going to be? If I'm going to get this whooping every time I tell the truth, then all right, I'm just going, I'm going to ride it out. You're going to have to catch me in the lie before I tell you the truth. So one of the things that I did with my children is I'm very, my son, I may have spanked him maybe twice in his life, 2 or 3 times in his life. My daughter, she got it twice in her life. But I don't spank I just don't. And one of the reasons is I want to promote honesty and transparency.
Right.
So one of the times my kids had a tablet and I think my card was attached to it, and they start buying up, little games. I'm like, so I was like, who somebody buy this game, or is this something to, and they were like, no, ain't nobody do. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
I didn't accuse nobody, ain't blame nobody. I'm like, okay, so,
Right.
well, if one of y'all did it, then y'all need to tell me. This is what happens. I said, my credit card company just called me saying that there was an unauthorized use on this. Now, when there's an unauthorized use on this, now I got to fill out this request form. They're going to shut my card down. I got to wait 2 weeks to get another card. There's a whole ripple effect, and there's a lot of money that goes along with this. So if there's something going on, then let me know, because I can deal with that. I didn't accuse them. I didn't do nothing. He left. All right. My daughter came back. Daddy, I bought the game on the site. I said, okay, thank you for telling me the truth.
Right.
I said, next time. And so talk through it. Like, you give people options, and it opens up the door of communication versus this zero policy all the time. So maybe if my dad only whooped me half of the time, I might have kept telling the truth. Like, all right, maybe I get away with it. No, but if it's always a immediate cutoff, then it's like, what's the benefit of it? And that's how it is in relationships. If I know I messed up, my partner, they might get mad at me. They might get real mad. They might
Right.
cut me off. You don't know. But,
Yeah.
as long as the communication is still on the table, then we can have a conversation. If I automatically know what the response is going to be the moment I say it, then you're going to have to catch me. I mean, that's the way people operate. Just a thought.
I mean, but that's the beauty in creating a safe space. It doesn't have to be a physical space, but just a safe space, right? And so back to the question of forgiveness and trust. Forgiveness is a word that I sometimes struggle with a little bit, right? Because I don't hold grudges, and I do have deal breakers, and I don't come back off of my deal breakers, right? But I also think that um forgiveness and grace are definitely key elements in any healthy relationship, whether it's intimate or platonic, right? Like, you do have to have those things. But I think that forgiveness looks different to everybody, right? I think that what that expectation is different for each person. I think for me, everything just literally boils down to, do your actions match your words? And if your actions match your
Right.
words, then I can't question you. There's nothing to question there. But communication is key. Comprehension is key. And a lot of people lack those two things as well. So here lies the muddy part of any relationship, friendship or intimate, right? Where lack of communication, lack of comprehension, lack of a safe space, even in some relationship dynamics, don't allow for forgiveness to foster or trust to be fostered.
Right.
But I think it's, that's one of my most, I think for me, that's where I find the most honor in my relationships with other people, is that people trust me. Like, you don't have to like me. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you like me. But but I care if you trust me. I care that I care about that part. Like, my reputation is very important to me. Trust is so important to me.
And for trustworthy people, then your reputation of trust should be important to you.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a problem for people who don't care if they're perceived as trustworthy or not. I think that's a problem in itself.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
You know, I definitely can agree with that too. I can say that I'm trustworthy, and I didn't know that I was like, I mean, I know that I call myself trustworthy, but I've never asked anybody to you know, like, to see what their opinion was, you know, because we always think that we are trustworthy, right? But to actually hear somebody else say, you know, or just not knowing, like, so here was a scenario, here's a few scenarios, like, and it was about some weed, which was crazy. Like, this chick, I never met her on Facebook, kind of like how we just met, right? A first time, she was really fucked up, and she gave me everything that she had in weed, all of everything. And she was like, here, I just feel like I can trust you. And she completely forgot about it. I took off, and like, she was like, wait, who has my weed? Right? And I was like, oh, I got it, you know, and we're friends till this day, you know, because she's like, man, like, you had you just held it, like, I didn't smoke nothing, I didn't
You do
take
have some people
nothing.
like that, to where, you know, even initial, you get a feeling like, yeah, I feel now. I mean, you could be proved wrong later, but some people you do get a feeling of like, yeah, okay, I can trust you up to this level. You can hold
Yeah.
my sack.
You
Pause.
know, exactly.
You ain't finna take
Pause.
my shit.
But I mean, honestly, like, I mean, for those pot smokers that are like really some pot smokers, like, that's a lot of, you can hold my sack means like I've been fucking with you for a minute, and like, I trust you to hold my shit.
All right, all right. We 156. We about to run up on 2 hours again.
Okay,
Chevy,
bye.
Ivory, do you have any last words before we get out of here? I know y'all ain't said a lot in a little bit.
Nope, good conversation.
Chevy, you got anything you want to add?
No, I thought it was a great conversation. I appreciate y'all asking though. I'll say this. I do think forgiveness, grace, but also mercy is required for trust.
I agree.
I do think you know, women and men, they do weaponize time and weaponize their own feelings. So you kind of got to get out of you a little bit, and that's where the grace, the mercy, and the forgiveness result from. So I appreciate y'all asking, man. Y'all be safe. Appreciate the space.
Yeah, thanks for coming tonight.
Sure appreciate it. All right, until next time. Hey, if there's any topic ideas, anybody, do we know what we're talking about next week, Nikki? Or
We had some. We had. I have to look at my list. We had a couple that we mentioned last show, and I don't know where. No, I've got my notebook. So yeah, we had I wrote it down. We had oh, if you knew better, you do better. Remember we talked about that? You said when I know better, I do better. So we talked about turning it into a topic. If you knew better, you would do better. Well, let's break it down.
I like that.
Yeah.
I do like that.
And then before you know it, it'll be last Tuesday. So be on the lookout for last Tuesday. Last Tuesday will be coming up, of course, and we'll be up at the food truck. So those of y'all who are listening to us who are Central Texas 512, the last Tuesday of every month, we meet up at Dirty Glove Midwest Barbecue. You can look up all the information. Of course, we'll have more as the weeks go on, but that last Tuesday of the month, we meet in person. So y'all make sure that you put on your calendars to come out and spend a night with us on the last Tuesday of the month. And it's a phenomenal group. I mean, it's wonderful, you know. Whatever conversations we have in person, we will always do with our live friends and family as well. So we don't just pick topics that y'all will never see. But we definitely got some good topics, but always need more topics. always need more topics. So for sure, give us your suggestions. If you got some topic suggestions, and just make sure you hit the share page, please. Make sure you hit share. Make sure you join the YouTube channel. Make sure that you join the Facebook group. We meet Tuesday night, every Tuesday, 8:05 live Central Standard Time. Always the same. If you got to join a little late, obviously you can. If you got to tap out a little early, obviously you can do that too. But we appreciate everybody for coming and supporting us and giving us your time and your spirit and just being in this space with us. So yeah, that's all I got. Otherwise, I guess we'll see y'all next Tuesday.
All right. Good night.